Welcome to all in my this YouTube channel. In last lecture, we have discussed the solid state. In that, we have cleared that point types of solids. Now today, we are going to look at this new point classification of crystalline solids. Now in classification of crystalline solids, that classification we have did on the basis of type of bond which is present in the solids. Now look at these 4 points. Their classification is based on the type of bond. So that's why the first thing is that in ionic solids are those solids in which their constituent atom or the particle in which ionic bond is present. So this is the first classification. And second classification, covalent network solids. Same thing also here we have did, that is the in constituent particles the bond which is present is covalent bond. And in third case, that is molecular solids, again we can say that the bond which is present in between two atoms or particles is nothing but the molecular solids. The fourth point, that is metallic solids, again here in particle the bond which is present is nothing but the metallic bond. So according on the basis of that different things, that is the bond which is present in particles or atoms, on that basis we did the 4 classifications. These are the 4 classifications of solids. Now we will discuss one by one. The first solid, that is we can say that ionic solids, or we can also call it as ionic crystals. There are some features of ionic crystals are there. When we are going in detail, first of all we will look at this picture. Then we will go to the features of ionic crystals. Look at this picture. You will notice some different ions. Now these ions which are placed here, these ions are positive and negative are arranged successively. Now when you are going to observe, the one thing is that the positive ions are smaller in size and negative ions are bigger in size. This is why. This is due to the what we can say charge transfer in sodium and chlorine. As sodium contains 3 outermost shells, one of the electron which is present in outermost shell, when it is transferred to the chlorine, therefore one of the shell of sodium atom is get lost, and at the same time the chlorine gains 1 electron from sodium, therefore, and in chlorine the number of shells are remain same, but due to the loss of 1 shell in sodium, the atomic size of sodium get decreased, therefore the sodium is smaller in size and chlorine is bigger in size. This is the case. Now we are going to discuss the different features of ionic crystals. The first thing is that the constituent particles are nothing but the charged ions. Now I have mentioned here the charged ions because you already seen in this figure the ions which we have shown are nothing but the Na plus and Cl minus. Therefore we can say that the first feature is that they are nothing but the charged ions. The second thing is that electrostatic force of attraction is present in between 2 successive ions. So this is the main thing that we can say. The type of attraction is nothing but the electrostatic force of attraction. And the third thing is that they are hard and brittle. Now look at this figure. As the force of attraction is more, another thing we can say that the charge between 2 atoms or the charge between 2 ions is nothing but the positive and negative. Therefore the attraction force is also maximum. But when we apply some force to this type of crystals, they will not slide one over another. Directly they get break. So this is the important thing is that's why we can say that they are hard and brittle. Means once we have applied some force to these crystals, they get cracked directly. And again one thing is that they have high melting point. Why they have high melting point? Because these ionic crystals are hard and brittle, so that's why we can say that their melting point is high. And the fourth thing is that they are non-conductors of heat and electricity. Why they are does not carry electricity? Because when they are in molten state, means when crystals, salts, or we can say ionic crystals are present in solid state, they does not carry a free electron. That's why they are non-conductors of electricity. But another thing is that when they are in molten fused state, when they are in fused state, they carry free electron. That's why they conduct electricity. Therefore, we can say that in fused form, ionic crystals are good conductors of electricity. And we are going to discuss some examples of ionic crystals. NaCl, K2SO4, KCl. These are some examples of ionic crystals. In our day-to-day life, we can take some another examples also. Now we are going to discuss the next point, that is covalent network crystals. This is the second classification of what we can say crystalline solids. Now we will discuss some features about the covalent solids. The constituent particles are atoms. The first feature tells us that in between two atoms or particles there is a presence of covalent bond. That's why we are calling it as a covalent network crystals. But when we are going to discuss the second point, all atoms are connected by means of a covalent bond and giant network is formed. Now why this point? In that point we have included giant network. This is because once we are going to look at this figure, all these atoms which I have shown by circles, they are nothing but the carbons. Generally what I did, I have drawn a network structure of diamond. Look at this figure, you will notice that each carbon is connected with other 4 carbon atoms. Hence, the hybridization of carbon will be sp3 and the tetrahedral structure you will notice here. So that's why we have stated that this is nothing but the giant network, what we can say in case of diamond is found. Such a giant network is also present in different examples of covalent network crystals. Now we are going to the third point. They are very hard and incompressible. Hard and incompressible is why they are very hard. We can say that in case of covalent bond, the same atoms or molecules and particles are present. Due to that's why reason they are very hard and incompressible. And we are moving to the next point. As a result, they shows high melting and boiling point. Just before I have stated that in case of covalent network crystals, the same atoms are present, and due to the sharing of electron, covalent bond is a more stronger as compared with other what we can say different bonds. Therefore, they have high melting and boiling points. After that point, we are going to the next point. They are poor conductors of heat and electricity. This is the reason why, because there is no any free electron is present in case of covalent solids. And we are going to the next some example. We are taking some examples of covalent solids, which are they in our daily life. You will notice some examples. In that, the first one is that diamond, and we can say that silicon oxide, or we can say it is a quartz. One of the common name that is we are calling it as a quartz. And the third example is boron nitride. In last year's book, some points they have included. What we can say, there's some examples of covalent network crystals are graphite. The graphite and Buckminster fullerene, they are included in previous year textbook, and detailed information is also provided regarding these two examples. So graphite, we can go in when we are going in detail of graphite. Graphite is also a covalent network crystal, and the layered structure is present in case of graphite. And the Buckminster fullerene, it is also called as a buck ball, and it is formed by the joining of 60 carbon atoms. So this is the what we can say in general classification of crystalline solids. We have seen that these 2 points, ionic solids and covalent network solids. So this is about the classification of 2 solids. In next lecture we will see the molecular and metallic solids. Thank you very much.